So we're going to be applying some wall vinyl today. This is just a quick print I made of what you guys will be receiving. It's a basic sort of application. There are some rules that this type of vinyl you need to follow for proper application. It's a little thicker and more rigid than most vinyls, but that also allows for us to have a lot of play during application. There's three parts. You have your printed material and plotted material. You have your mask, and you have your backing. And the mask is going to allow us to transfer from the backing onto the wall. For this, you're just going to need some simple stuff. A level, you can go bigger if you need to, but with this type of print, you don't really need it, but just a simple level, something to do measurements, a heat gun. Now this is more of the more important tools. You can pick yourself up a simple weldy at any real hardware shop, but I mean, even in a pinch, we're not using too much heat. You may be able to get away with a hair dryer, but I highly suggest having some sort of heat gun. You don't need to go crazy again. We're not going up to 500 degrees, but we do want it hot, just not melting. So we'll start off with, you're gonna take your measurements. I'm not necessarily sure what type of walls you'll be going over. This is just a stucco wall, so there's a lot of little bits and crannies and stuff. I figured that would be a really good way to show application. We can also, later on in the video, I could show you how we would go over some of this brick material. If that's something that you do end up having to go over, there's a way to do that too. So yeah, you would take your measurements and say I wanted to go 5 over from this door frame. And you're gonna try to get it as level as possible to ground, but also if there's like a bar or molding or something that's coming across that's slightly askew or running uphill, you could also always just measure down from that bar and find a straight line and say, yeah, these are both dropping in 12 inches, so you know you're running level to whatever you're going with. But for this application, we're just gonna go a simple level to the ground. I don't think you're gonna need to do much more than that. I always prep to make myself a little hinge here, some tape. And so yeah, I measured over, like I said, 5 inches or so from the door here, give or take. I'm gonna really press down. This is a stucco wall. Let me move this out without breaking stuff. Now this is a stucco wall, so my tape is going to adhere a lot easier. Like that brick wall I showed you, maybe a different story. Maybe need a little bit stronger tape, but for the most part, with most of my applications, it's just a simple masking tape. So we have it on the wall. We'll take our level. I personally would just use Michigan. That's a really crisp, straight line that we can follow. If you had a bigger level, you could also do priority help down here and kind of measure from bottom of this H, bottom of this P, find a good center. But for now, very simple. We're just gonna line this up with our H and our A. I'm already pretty close with that center. Just needs just a little bit of fine tuning. Something like that. Reapply, make sure the view is good. You always want to measure twice. Once we got it, and we're sitting pretty centered. So always take a step back. You want to look at placement. We're going to call that good. Maybe it could be adjusted a little bit more, but for brevity, we're going to say that's fine. Now that we have this all hung, we have the position that we need it in. I'm going to take a piece of tape. I can grab it. Go for a long pull here. I'm going to make that hinge right up here. Half and half. Half over our mask, half onto the wall. Okay? Make sure it's nice and good and crisp. Have a nice clean hinge. We want to remove any excess. We want our hinge to have a clean line on the end there. I'm actually going to go over that because I don't trust it. Right here. Just nice. Right to the end. Same over here. Save that for later if I need it. Nice and clean. Okay. now for the fun part. So like I said, we have a mask, we have a backing. We need to release that backing to apply the printed material onto the mask. This is what we call a window hang. So we're gonna bring this up. I'm gonna find my edge here of my backing, and I'm not gonna just immediately pull. I just want a nice, good handle to have, and I'm gonna slowly start bringing it down. If you can't do this by yourself, get another person to hold it as they pull, but I'm gonna keep pulling that backing all the way out. I'm watching what I'm peeling, I'm watching my letters, making sure they're all coming off and sticking to that mask correctly. I typically go down to my hand here. It makes a good handle, and it gives me a lot of control over where I'm going with this. So, there's 2 rules to applying vinyl. You want to bring this as close as you can to the wall. Very tight angle, as you can see. I'm not touching, but I am bringing it as close as I can. And this with the backing is kind of a good judgment of how far away you want to be, as well as I put my hand out here to kind of feel that wall. That's typically a good measurement. So I'm close to my wall, and then the second rule is good, smooth strokes and application. So even though there's no material here, I'm still going to apply all this mask. You see how I'm following these wrinkles here? I don't know if that's showing up, but you have a little bit of a wrinkle going. We're just going to keep smoothing it out. I'm going to chase that all the way down. Nice even strokes. I don't do this. Don't do it with my hand. It's nice, clean, even strokes. And this vinyl is very sensitive. It needs to be, for it to fully adhere, we're going to have to heat it and give it lots of pressure. What it's meant for is that you can put it on the wall and kind of have some play with it, move it around, readjust. It's really flimsy right now, and it's just kind of sticking on there. We want to make sure it's nice and secure. Otherwise, when we go to start peeling this mask off, we're going to have some problems. So just follow these steps and it should be good. Slowly, I'm keeping my hand here, I'm keeping that angle as best as possible. You try to stroke any other way, like this angles and stuff. This, I don't again know if this is showing up. These wrinkles will start to push into the center, and you're going to start wrinkling your letters. You don't want that to happen. So just chase it down. About here, let go of the release. I'm bringing it again right to my finger onto that wall. Nice even angle. Bring it down. Move the hand. There you go. So, before we go peeling this mask, like I said, this is very flimsy. This is barely sticking onto this wall right now. This is for if I was going to be doing like a big wall of many different layers and stuff, I can move that around. We don't want it to move. So, before we do anything, I want you to even go in with a hand, finger, thumb, whatever. You can use your squeegee, really press. You're not trying to go full Hulkamania and run your hands through it and put it through the wall, but you do want to apply a lot of pressure. Really, really make sure this is the most important part. You are going to have a mess if you do not do this part. Take your time. And I mean, I'm pushing pretty hard, because since this is stucco, or even worse, a brick, you need to really make sure that vinyl is pushing into every little crevice, every bump. And it's even time, before we do anything further, get your heat gun going. This is set very high. I could keep it, honestly, go to 100 and it would be all right. I'm gonna work a little bit hotter just because I like to work fast. We don't want to make this video forever, so I'm just gonna sit and heat. Follow it. And you can feel the heat gun. You want to feel that heat there. You want to feel something. And now I'm just gonna run my fingers over while I heat it. Don't burn yourself. Really push that in. And I don't think it's going to show up on camera. Very, very faint. But you will see a difference on where you're pressing hard and really how it's taking into that wall. That's what we're looking for. You can almost start to see the texture of the wall through the vinyl. That's when we know we have it on there secure. One more time with this. We'll go with that. So this is adhering pretty well, but even still, I can see that it's trying to release from the wall. This is the time I really want you to take your time and watch what we're doing. Watch what we're peeling. Keep looking over the rest of your image, especially when we get down to the letters. We don't want anything coming off. I'm gonna go over this one last time because I can see it's still trying to give me a little bit of trouble here. When we peel, we want it tight to the wall, so I can even do this. You don't want to try to pull it like this, or like this. We want it tight to the wall, and it's best if we're pulling at an angle like this, almost like a 45. You just want to keep bringing that in. When you get excess here, pull it up. Makes you a nice handle. Again, I'm watching up here. It's trying to give a little bit. That's okay, as long as it's stuck on the mask. We know we're in place. It's not moving around. We're golden. Keep that angle. Keep it tight. And if you want to come in here, I can actually show what I'm talking about. See how this has some texture to it? And this, you can almost see a ripple in it. That's what I mean about it trying to release on you. See that? We're chasing that bubble. There's a lot of little rivets and stucco patterns and all textures that we're trying to get around. This is what we need to be aware of. This is the difficult part of this application. Otherwise, fairly easy. We'll start with my second piece here. You see it's trying to give still, right there. And we still have a lot of work if we want to lay this down. We're going to go back over this and make sure we have it really nice and heated and really stuck in. That's why having a good heat gun is very vital in this. You want that to stick. You don't want somebody coming around and shoving a thumb under there and scraping off your work. Nice and easy. Okay, now we're on to letters. When we're peeling our letters, remember what we have as printed material, and now I want you to keep scanning back and forth, looking at every little thing that you're peeling away. If you're not paying attention, you might have an eye or something here that gets pulled. Right here, I even see that's trying to come up. Yeah, these little dots of these eyes can give you some pain. So just watch what we're doing very, very slowly, carefully. Go slower than me. See, I'm seeing over here still. And again, you could really take your time with this mask still on. Go over it every single inch with your thumb and really, really heat it in. The more you do that, the easier time this is going to be. But again, for brevity, we're just hurrying it along. Okay, we have it on. We're happy with placement. This is the time where we're going to look over all these. You see these bubbles that are kind of forming right in here. This is all textured, good and stuck, but this is kind of pulling away. We're gonna wipe those out. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. So you would go in, heat it, and I'll show you what that texture looks like. And you know it's nice and good. Can you get that shot from the difference from here to here? That texture. See how it's sticking a lot more? That's what we're looking for. That's what we need for heat and pressure. Really work it in like that. Good. So do that all the way across. Heat, same thing with the letters. Nice and even. Come back in with your thumb, glove, squeegee. And we're just going to press everything in until it's nice and almost looks like it's painted into the wall. Like so. Once it all has a good texture and it's really flat and stuck in there, you're going to have to let it sit for about a day, day and a half, and it'll truly, truly adhere. It takes time for that all set, all the heat, everything, all the pressure to really form and bond with that wall. And once it's in, it doesn't come down until you want it to. I said that I was going to show you quickly on like a wall of what you would do if it was a stucco or a brick wall. Let me just take this and I'll give you a quick lesson. Of course, now I stuck that down. Take this over here if you want to follow me. So let's say this is just our masked material. This is the same thing we were doing over there, but just show you. So if I was applying vinyl onto something with grooves like this, like you would on a brick wall, we're still going to do the same application method, but this one's a little bit trickier. We want to follow it to that edge, which is right about here, as you can see. And then we want to actually push in and feed that into that line. Don't strut on this. Forget what I said over there. You want to push in and out. Do not stroke. You don't want to go over it. You want to push that in because this is going to create a pocket of air and debris and all sorts of things can get under there and it will not stay. Make sure the wall's clean. Make sure you have everything pressed in. Once you've gone over that, apply like you were. Keep going. I feel that there's a groove here. Push that in as best as possible and work out. It's all about just following those grooves, stretching it in, and then going back and heating it into place. Again, I don't know if you have a brick wall, but this is how that would be done. Feeding it all into place. And then go back over and do your heating like you would on what we did over there. That's pretty much the gist of it. I hope this was a good explanation and good luck.